We light our chalice today with words by Robert T. Weston. Life, as we know, autumn, is life en route to death. The asters are but harbingers of frost. The trees, flaunting their colors at the sky, in other times will follow where the leaves have fallen. And so shall we. Yet other lives will come. So may we know, accept, embrace the mystery of life we hold a while, nor mourn that it outgrows each separate self, but still rejoice that we may have our day, lift high our colors to the sky, and give in our time fresh glory to the earth. Esto. We give the first of our offerings today to she who gave up her seat in the council of the Olympian gods. We light a fire for Hestia, always honored first and last. We thank the keeper of the hearth, Hestia, esto. And we make a call for inspiration to Apollo. Sweet-tongued Apollo, who sings for the gods, mayst thou guide thence our praises to bathe them in honor. For we are but mortals, and thou art a god. Only this boon we beg thee, grant to us now that our voices be pleasing to gods, spirits, and mains, that the aim of our right strike its target precisely, that our blessings and theirs pass freely between the realms of the kindreds and the lips of our seer. Esto. We take a moment now, before we construct our sacred space, to prepare ourselves. So I invite you to become comfortable, whether sitting or standing, whatever is most practical for your situation and comfort. And allow your breath to settle and become slow. And allow your attention, as your breath settles downward, to follow that breath down your legs, through your feet, through the ground below you. Let your attention go through the crust of the earth itself, reaching ever farther downward, past the rock layer, past the water layer, all the way to the deep, fiery core of the earth. And when you have found that heat, pull it with your awareness toward yourself and bring some of that heat and that power up into yourself, pooling in your center, adding that warm, heavy earth energy in the center of yourself. And then I invite you to allow your attention to rise out of the top of your head, up through whatever is above you, in to the sky, through the atmosphere and in to the expansive darkness of space, surrounded by the cool light of the stars. Draw in that cool star energy and send it down into yourself, letting it intermingle in your center with that warm, heavy earth energy. Breathing that combination of earth and the heavens that you are, a being of the world above and the world below. And as you settle that awareness, we are grounded and ready for ritual work. Esto. We now begin the portion of ritual where we call for a balance among the forces of the natural world. So I will hold up a representation of the land, the sea, and the sky. I invite you in your own space, even though you are muted, to repeat after me the ritual phrase as we call for peace among the earthly realms. We remember the land and ask that the land not open up and swallow us. We remember the sea and ask that the sea not rise up and drown us. We remember the sky and ask the sky not fall down upon us. Here with you I stand, hand in hand upon the sacred land. With one breath we cry, you and I, to the sacred sky. And together we one day will be across the sacred sea. Esto. Having called for peace among the earthly realms, we now bring into alignment the cosmos of the world above, the world of the living, and the world below. We do this often with a song, and we'll be doing that today. This is the Portal Song written by Ian Corrigan. I invite you to sing along on the choruses, verses if you know them. The chorus goes like this. By fire and by water, between the earth and sky, we stand like the world tree rooted deep, crowned high. And those words are by fire and by water, between the earth and sky, we stand like the world tree, rooted deep, crowned high. I'll sing a line and you can sing it back. By fire and by water, between the earth and sky, we stand like the world tree rooted deep, crowned high. And that chorus is sung twice, before each verse and in between each of the three verses. I'm going to hit play on a recording, and both David and I are going to perform some ritual actions to charge our altars while the song is going on. So please hold space and sing as you are able.
By fire and by water, between the earth and sky, we stand like the willow tree rooted deep, crowned high. By fire and by water, between the earth and sky, we stand like the willow tree rooted deep, crowned high. Come we now to the well, the eye and the mouth of earth. Come we now to the well, and silver we bring. Come we now to the well, the waters of rebirth. Come we now to the well, together we sing. By fire and by water, between the earth and sky, we stand like the willow tree rooted deep, crowned high. By fire and by water, between the earth and sky, we stand like the willow tree rooted deep, crowned high. We will kindle a fire, bless all, and with harm to none. We will kindle a fire, and offering pour. We will kindle a fire, a light neath the moon and sun. We will kindle a fire, our spirits will soar. By fire and by water, between the earth and sky, we stand like the willow tree rooted deep, crowned high. By fire and by water, between the earth and sky, we stand like the willow tree rooted deep, crowned high. Gather we at the tree, the root and the crown of all. Gather we at the tree, below and above. Gather we at the tree, together we make our call. Gather we at the tree, in wisdom and love. By fire and by water, between the earth and sky, we stand like the willow tree rooted deep, crowned high. By fire and by water, between the earth and sky, we stand like the willow tree rooted deep, crowned high.
Having charged our portals between the worlds, we call now a gatekeeper to assist us in navigating the worlds between, above, and below. We're calling today to Hecate, a guardian of liminal spaces. We call out now to Hecate to guide us in walking between the worlds. Hecate, at moonlit crossroads, you befriend the helpless. Key-holding mistress of earth, sea, and sky, dark mother Hecate, ghosts and hounds follow you. You are the black puppy and the black she-lamb. Torchbearer, we praise you for the brightness of your power. We offer you eggs, garlic, and wine. Hecate of the crossroads, be our guide. Guide us as you guided Demeter in her journey. Reveal to us the way to walk in safety. Radiant Hecate of the torches, guiding light, keeper of the keys, join your hidden knowledge and power with ours, and help us to open the gates between the worlds. Let this water become the well, and open as a gate to the worlds below. Our connections deepen to the chthonic beings as the gate is opened. Let this flame become the fire and open as a gate to the worlds above. Our connections deepen to the Uranic beings as the gate is opened. Let this tree stand at the center and mark our sacred center here and in all the world. Let the tree wrap its roots around the stone and sink into the well, and let its branches stretch out and reach for the fire. We stand here connected at the sacred center to all the realms of land, sky, and sea. Join your power with ours, and let the gates be open. Esto. With the passage between worlds open, we take a moment now to acknowledge those spirits that would not be helpful to us. I invite you to avert your eyes away from David's altar as we make offerings to those who would pull us off course and keep us from success in our work today. We bring you something sweet, something spicy, something sour, and something bland.
The offering has been made.
Esto. We now begin to invite those powers that we do wish to have with us today, beginning with our three kindreds, the nature spirits, the ancestors, and the shining ones, those gods and powers whose attention we especially hope to catch today. To the nature spirits, we offer these hardy foods that you might be nourished and strengthened through the dark days ahead, whether you crawl or fly, slither or leap, dance or glimmer, we seek to walk beside you in peace and harmony. Nature spirits, aid us as we aid you. And to our ancestors, we offer watered wine, who have gone before us and who have taken action both right and wrong. We acknowledge our ancestors' mistakes, but we can look to them and not necessarily repeat them. Ancestors, remember us as we remember you. And we offer unwatered wine to the Olympian gods and chthonic powers alike in this season, where both life and death, light and dark, are abundant all around us. The gods, goddesses, heroes, and others, who represent both the virtue and vice of humanity writ large, we look to you that we may walk a more moderate path. Shining ones, honor us as we honor you. We call now in two forms to our patron of the year and the patron of this rite, calling him today by title Diaktoros, who guides all our journeyings. Diaktoros, who swiftly delivers messages between all realms. Athanatos Diaktoros, who fulfills these offices throughout eternity. Join us here for these rites as we seek to honor your work and the lives of our beloved dead. Help us to travel safely on the paths between worlds and arrive back to our beginning in wholeness, carrying messages of hope and relief where our journeying may take us. Accept these our offerings and be our sure-footed guide. Esto.
Psychopampos, guide of souls to the shores of the afterworld, we call to you. Hermes Cadonios carries the rod of surcease and comfort. The Caduceus, we call to you. Hermes Largephedonis, bright messenger who lights the way to the final resting place, we call to you. Join us here for these rites as we seek to honor your work and the lives of our beloved dead. Help us to travel safely in the paths between worlds and arrive back at beginning in wholeness, carrying messages of hope and grief and relief where our journeying may take us. Take these our offerings and be our sure-footed guide. Esto.
Yes.
With the passages between worlds open, our patron acknowledged and our allies summoned, we come to the core of our work for today. There is a tradition in Greece called polysporia, a communal gathering of large pots full of legumes and grains to mark the end of the harvest season. Mothers and grandmothers spend the day collecting their family's offerings of food into vast pots of soup, cooked in front of the community and shared about as an act of service, but also as a prayer that in the coming dark times, everyone will have enough. For about a month and a half now, we've been raising money for harvesters as a prayer very much in keeping with the polysporia tradition. We donate so all can eat, in hopes that all can be well. Alongside this work for the living, David has been creating obols to offer to our well, so that the dead have passage across the river, if that's what they're seeking. It isn't the coin itself that interests the boatman, but rather the spark of vitality carried in the obol from here to there. All work in the world of the living becomes a resonant echo in the next world. Knowing this, and that our work echoes down through the generations of the living, we become aware that everything we do is in support of things which are yet to be. Food for the living becomes obols for the dead. When we care for each other, we care for our beloved dead as well. As we prepare to give these obols to the well as an offering to the boatman, we take this time to charge them with a bit of our passion and intent to grant them value in the eyes of chthonic office holders. You're welcome now to participate in two ways. Need to put up an image. We have this charging litany, which if you were at our sigil creation workshop for the election, it's going to work in much the same way. So you are welcome to participate as the reader of a line. We will be saying these phrases in sequence, a total of 4 times through, hopefully at an increasing rate of speed. Does everyone who wishes a line have a line? Okay. Then, putting our attention toward David's altar, if you can see it, we remember you.
Honor you.
We raise this. Go ahead.
We raise this energy for you.
We make this offering for you.
Be at peace.
Be at rest.
Be welcomed.
Be safe.
Travel well.
Travel safe.
Travel unhindered.
Be at peace.
We remember you.
Honor you.
We raise this energy for you.
We make this offering for you.
Be at peace.
Be at rest.
Be welcomed.
Be safe.
Travel well.
Travel safe.
Travel unhindered.
Be at peace.
We remember you.
We honor you.
We raise this energy for you.
We make this offering for you.
Be at peace.
Be at rest.
Be welcomed.
Be safe.
Travel well.
Travel safe.
Travel unhindered.
Be at peace.
We remember you.
We honor you.
We raise this energy for you.
We make this offering for you.
Be at peace.
Be at rest.
Be welcomed.
Be safe.
Travel well.
Travel safe.
Travel unhindered.
Be at peace.
Direct your attention toward David's altar with all of that energy that we have raised through this litany, and feel it pour out into the bowl of obols, carrying with it our well wishes for our beloved dead, known and unknown, that this bit of life might charge the currency they need to seek well-being in the next world. Keep a small amount for yourself. Don't give it all away. And we make this offering of our intent and passion and well wishes for all who need it. As we remember those who have passed in the last year, we name them here. Marion K. Renner, Mother Outlaw. Jack Denzer, photographer and grandfather. Lillian Camilleri. Alan Cook. Shane Rouse, stage technician. Kurt Sederberg. Jack Jury. Bob Allen. Ralph Stingo. Katie Bohannon, beloved wife. Arachne, Rennie and psychic. Lois Rupp. Bob Jones. Emily Davidson, beloved wife. Richard Blim, world famous pediatrician. Carol Ingram, musician and choral accompanist. Phyllis Calvert. Jesse Linder, Ren Fair musician. William Bunce. Jan Marie Smith, Kansas City Women's Chorus accompanist. Gail Lynn Bennett Grant. Ernest Martin. Howard Yoakum, Jean Dolores Talbot Mulholland, Stacy Park Milburn, Amanda Mel Baggs, autism activist. Howard Marshall Ledbetter Sr., Michael Connor Hogan, Erica Zern, Monica Roberts, Larry Aubrey, newspaper columnist and activist. Vanessa Filkins, Jim Bass, artist and scoutmaster. Tyler Kurtz, Andrew's nephew. Connie Welch, Brianna Taylor, emergency room technician, killed by police. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Supreme Court Justice. Chadwick Boseman, actor. George Floyd, security guard, killed by police. Elandria Williams, former co-moderator of the UUA General Assembly. Eddie Van Halen, musician. Aaron Wall, opera singer. John Lewis, civil rights activist. Sean Monterosa, carpenter, killed by police. Nikki Aragus Lloyd, marriage equality activist. Freeman Dyson, physicist. Yvette Lundy, French resistance fighter and Legion of Honor recipient. Tik Shi Kwang, Buddhist activist. Cameron Lamb, Kansas City repairman, killed by police. Katherine Johnson, NASA mathematician. Zilonke, king of the Xhosa people. Legend Taliaferro, child. J. Charles Jones, civil rights activist. Barger, radio dog. Joe Diffie, singer-songwriter. Brad McQuaid, video game designer. Andres Guardado, killed by police. James Randi, skeptic. Almas Elman, peace activist. David Patrick Underwood, security officer, killed by vigilantes. David Glass, former owner of the Kansas City Royals. Olivia Ann Jansen, Kansas City child. Barbara Hillary, first black woman to reach both poles. Julian Edward Roosevelt Lewis, killed by state police. Charlot Jeudi, Haitian LGBT activist. Carol Spinney, puppeteer. Tyrone Payton, Kansas City child. Antonio Valenzuela, killed by police. Vicky Wood, race car driver. Michael Mosher, Overland Park police officer. Canon Hinnant, child. Donnie Sanders, Kansas City man, killed by police. Howard Cruz, gay comics artist and author. James Scurlock, activist, killed while protesting. Agnes Baker Pilgrim, eldest grandmother of the Takelma tribe. Stan Kirsch, actor. Dorothy McLean, author and co-founder of the Findhorn Foundation. Nicholas Alaverdian, child welfare advocate and whistleblower. Ahmaud Arbery, jogger, killed by vigilantes. Irving Burgee, Caribbean songwriter. Ramon Timothy Lopez, truck driver, killed by police. Lil Bub, celebrity cat. Sarah Grossman, barista, died from reaction to tear gas fired by police. D.C. Fontana, scriptwriter and author. René Aubergenois, actor. Raven Parks, Kansas City woman. George Joseph Laurer III, inventor of the UPC barcode. Marie Fredrickson, singer. Myrtle Cage, pilot and member of the Mercury 13 astronaut group. Ram Dass, author, mystic, and founder of the Hanuman Foundation. Alistair Gray, author. Tom Alexander, musician. Salathis Melvin, killed by police. Mike Resnick, author. Terry Jones, actor, member of the Pythons. David McAtee, restaurant owner, killed by National Guard during protest. Jim Lehrer, journalist. Jonathan Price, football player, killed by police. Kobe Bryant, basketball player, author. Scott Hutton, police officer, killed by another police officer. Mary Higgins Clark, author. Regis Philbin, television personality. Sally Rowley, freedom writer and civil rights activist. Rayshard Brooks, restaurant worker, killed by police. Roy Littlechief, First Nations activist. David Kluel, former poet laureate of Missouri. Carlos Carson, father, killed by security guard. Lorena Borjas, transgender and immigrant rights activist. Larry Tesler, computer scientist. Genesis Breyer Peorage, performance artist and singer. Ryan Whitaker, killed by police. Sarah Ratley, pilot and member of the Mercury 13 astronaut group. Kenny Rogers, singer-songwriter. Wilford Brimley, actor. Joseph Lowry, civil rights activist. Curly Neal, member of the Harlem Globetrotters. Nina Pupp, trans woman from Sikeston, Missouri. Javier Ambler, killed by police. April Dunn, disability rights activist. Daniel Prude, killed by police. Soraya Santiago Soya, transgender pioneer. Christina, singer. Larry Kramer, playwright and LGBT activist. Mort Drucker, cartoonist. Glenna Goodacre, sculptor. Brian Dennehy, actor. Adatiana Jefferson, killed by police. Vormzy N, esotericist. Charlie Daniels, singer-songwriter. Duncan Lemp, killed by police. Sherry Height, sex educator and feminist. Richard Hake, journalist. Damon Gutzwiller, police officer, killed by vigilantes. Madeline Kripke, world's foremost dictionary collector. Robert Johnson Jr., killed by police. Zara Alvarez, human rights activist. Olivia de Havilland, actor. Nathaniel Woods, executed. Bill English, co-developer of the computer mouse. Aaron J. Danielson, killed by vigilante. Yusta Barrios, home care worker and labor activist. Grant Imahara, engineer and actor. Manuel Ellis, killed by police. Motoko Fujishiro Huthwit, preservationist, last surviving female member of the Monuments Men. Little Richard, musician. Amy Stevens, funeral home director and transgender activist. Fred Willard, actor. Nicholas Chavez, killed by police. Hirvan Fortuyn, dancer and LGBT activist. Vera Lynn, singer. Hawa Abdi, human rights activist. Ian Holm, actor. Joseph Rosenbaum, killed by vigilante. Santiago Manuin Valera, indigenous rights activist. Anthony Huber, killed by vigilante. Emily Howell Warner, first female captain of an American Airlines scheduled flight. Ronnie and Donnie Gallion, world's oldest conjoined twins. Tommy Dale McLaughlin Jr. died in police custody. Ebru Timtik, human rights lawyer. Monica Roberts, transgender activist. Kathleen Byerly, U.S. Navy captain and Woman of the Year. Terry Goodkind, author. Sean Connery, actor. Timothy Ray Brown, considered the first person cured of HIV/AIDS. Mireille Freeney, opera singer. Spot, beloved old man cat. Joseph Stone, beloved husband. Are there any other we need to remember at this time? The Hellenic view.
In the chat, there is Bill Gross, Joseph Stone, beloved husband.
I read that one.
Oh, my apologies. All those killed by hate crimes and victims of COVID.
Adrian Law.
Louis, King Charles Spaniel, beloved little buddy.
Spike, Porcupine, and lifelong educator. And Rats, Clover, Ladybug, and Watson.
Marie Hilliard.
To make this last set for anyone unnamed, for all the hundreds of thousands. Also,
The Hellenic view of the realm of Hades was not the hell of later Christianity, but encompasses the idea that the dead become shades, reflections of their former selves. And while the pandemic continues around us and we grieve for those we have lost, we also suffer from a loss of vital experiences and togetherness that bring life, flavor, color, and savor. We might even feel like we ourselves are mere shades of the selves we saw in the mirror so long ago in 2019. This time, then, is not just to honor and remember our beloved dead, but to honor and remember those things that we have temporarily sacrificed for the good of our families, our friends, our co-workers, and those we may never know, hoping that we will share these things again when this time is complete. Our sacrifice is not the same, but we feel between worlds, between times, between lives. That time between times is far from done. But with Samhain upon us, we have taken this time to mark the passing of another year. We have made this time to honor our beloved dead. And we come to the time in our ritual where if you have praises to offer, oaths to make, or oaths to check in on before the gods, goddesses, and powers that be, this is the time to do that. I make a first offering with the prayer for the helpers written by the Reverend Jana Vende. May your fire burn strong and be a spark, off of which others may light their own when it has gone out. May the darkness be illuminated as you hold the flame in the moment for those who cannot. May the warmth of your hearth and your community keep you supported as you are a foundation for others. Esto. If there are offerings you wish to make, I invite you to raise your hand with the raise hand feature on Zoom, if that is possible for you. It is tricky to see physically raised hands, though I will do my best. And I see Aaron's hand up.
First, I would like to make an offering to my daddy, who's right here, part of him anyway. And like he's been gone from us for 2 years now, and he was a very hard nut to crack because he didn't like to show when he was sad or troubled. And of course, his favorite nut was a walnut. So, and I'm going to make another offering here. You can't see it, but I have a crystal ball that belonged to my dear friend Raven. And I write a poem for him. And this offering I give to him and my gods, but Rogi in particular. I just received the news. Shouldn't something have happened? The sands turned solid, the waters dry, the flames grown cold, the winds not move. Every cloud writes your name Every brook babbles your story. Every fire cracks with your words. Doesn't every breeze sing your songs? I hear them sing. He's dead. He is dead. Sweet voices carry your soul. There is no ending I could write to do justice to such a life. Merry part, my dear friend, we shall meet again. Eso.
I'm seeing Jamie and then Barbara.
Okay, I have a couple, but I want to start with Connie. Connie was my mom's best friend, and it's because of Connie that I was pulled out of an abusive household as a child. And then also she basically gave me a second home when I was a senior in high school. She helped raise my younger siblings, and she was basically pretty much always involved in our lives, even after mom died. So I want to thank her for that. And I also want to thank her for teaching me to play cribbage, even though the only person I know in town who plays cribbage is Erin, and we can't get together right now. But that's something that I'll always remember. So thank you, Connie, and may you rest in peace. And I make offering of my mother's favorite drink, as I do at pretty much any opportunity. As always, I could really use your advice, Mom, because as always, your children are insane. All of us, we are all insane, and we need help. So just a little bit of help. Thanks, Mom.
I will pour a little Glenlivet for my mother. Wherever you are, Mother, I hope you are seeing flowers and pretty things and not what's going on here. It would be so hard for you. And I'll pour a little of that Glenlivet for my father. 35 years gone, but never forgotten. And in fulfillment of an oath and gratitude for gifts given, an offering of mint to my Lady Persephone. Thank you forever. Esto.
I'm seeing Kimberly, and if I've missed you, please indicate that in the chat.
I have wine for Dionysus, both in recognition of his part in the keeping and the liberation of the dead, and to ask that he turn his attention to all of us who are oppressed, and turn his attention and his hand with our hands to liberation. Hail Dionysus. Stop.
I see Skylar, then Susie and Devin.
I have been grieving the loss of Mel Baggs, disability activist, whose writings and other work helped me get to know myself and understand myself in a way that nobody else ever could. And I would like to make an offering by reading one of your poems called The Mind Bridge. You saw me spinning outside, along the edges of a dance, asked questions, were told I was crazy. The first thing you were told, besides my name. We were so very different, and I had trouble communicating. But from the very first day we talked, you were making inroads nobody had ever made. Ever, ever, never in my life had someone peered into my mind and seen me. We were only 12 years old, and you instinctively knew that the way to communicate with me was to find books in common and talk in metaphors gleaned from the pages of the books we had just read. It was a wrinkle in time, I recall. We classified people as Meg-like or Charles Wallace-like, Sandy and Dennis-like. For the first time ever, I was able to break out of non-communicative echolalia by using echolalia from a book. I told you I was Mrs. Who, the character who could only communicate by quoting the words of others. For a 12-year-old autistic kid who had never heard of autism or echolalia, I doubt anyone could have done better than we did that day at building a bridge between our worlds. I didn't recognize your significance for a long time. In fact, I ignored you. I was embarrassed sometimes at your interest in me. I didn't know what to make of it. You saved every telephone number of every mental institution, every residential facility I was committed to, even for a day, so that we could keep in touch, no matter what. Nobody else did that, not even the people who claimed later to have been so close to me. None of them ever did that. But I've seen your daily planner, full of crossed out phone numbers for mental institutions that I have no memory of speaking to you in because I was too heavily drugged. When I became nonverbal on the phone, you were the one who devised impromptu communication systems, cycling through the alphabet until I tapped out the letters. Not even my psychiatrist took me seriously enough to do this for me. I cried. Then each of us tapped out the rhythm of a prime number. You took 2, I took 3. You took 5, I took 7. We would go as high as we could. My favorites were 7 and 11. You knew that the rhythm of numbers was one of my favorite things. So when I went nonverbal on the phone, you devised the prime number game. There were so many areas where we met in the middle, despite our brains being quite different. I was a highly sensing and sensual person, and I brought to our friendship a heightened appreciation for basic sensory experiences that you had all but forgotten about. You even took up stimming to understand the world as I experienced it. You were undersensitive, and you lived in your mind, a mind full of mathematics and ideas and concepts that were normally too high for me to climb to, but you carried me up specially made ladders to teach me graduate level math and make me think I could do it. You were so brilliant that everyone knew it. Even in our gifted program, you were singled out for special tracking. I'd never even heard of the gifted of the gifted. No one was less surprised than me when you won the International Science Fair by discovering a new property of the Fibonacci sequence. You weren't just good at tests. I used to wonder what someone like you saw in someone like me, who was already ex-gifted. By the time I began to know you well, I wondered how a mind like yours could see anything worthwhile in a mind like mine. But the magic happened between us when we each built a bridge. I built mine out of mud and sticks and redwood cones. You built yours out of equations and proofs and lots of geometry. And we were able to stand in the middle, where the bridges met, hold hands, and look out over the landscapes of our two minds. Nobody had ever built me such a bridge before. Nobody has ever built me such a bridge since. Until I saw the bridge, I had no idea how lucky I was. I was content to be an object in your world, you told me once, commenting on the long time when I couldn't seem to understand that you were offering friendship and love when you weren't sure I noticed you were really there at all. How can an autistic child who has only known bullies masquerading as friends understand friendship and love? One of my friends, when she was a teenager, got so confused by a genuine offer of friendship that she painted a painting where the sky was the ground and the ground was the sky and all the colors were reversed. Then she broke down crying. Me, I just stayed wary for years. When I was vulnerable around you, I waited for the sucker punch to the gut that always came when I was confused or overloaded, and the laughter that always followed. But the punch and the laughter and the ridicule never came. Instead of garbage, you handed me a flower. Instead of a locked door, you handed me a key. I unlocked the door. I stepped out into a world of living color, and I said goodbye to the bully friends forever. And I took your hand and stepped onto the bridge, and we held hands and looked at the sunset together, you standing on mud, me standing on geometry, on a bridge I have never seen the like of again.
I would like to pay a tribute to my dad. Probably the biggest influence of my life. Kind, wise, funny, goofy. Kind, gentle, fierce. Introduced me to science fiction. Allowed me to question anything. Taught me that being me was a good thing to be. You've been gone a long time. I didn't really get to say goodbye because you were in Denver by then. But you were with me every day. I see you in a couple of the gentlemen at work, different parts of you. And I value the closeness to you through them. And in exchange, they get the gift of another sort of daughter's love. It's a really valuable gift. So while I miss you, thank you for giving me me.
I offer to those ancestors of mine who can hear me, from the house of my grandparents, food made by my hand for my family, offerings to you. For my grandparents, coffee, black. And a mug from my own mother's house. I offer to those ancestors who wish to have it, bacon cooked by my hand. I offer to my grandmother for the chocolate monkey that sits on her back still, I bet. For all my ancestors who would have it, I offer you mead made by my hand. Just had to make sure it was good. Lastly, I offer you sweet dessert that I will share with you in communion later. A test.
A year ago at Samhain, I did something that I know better than to do, and that is make an oath with a time limit on it. And so I have actually come today to ask forgiveness and promise that I am still working on it, because I have not learned 12 new hymns to my gods. I think I've learned 6. So I'm still working on the 12. And with the way things have gone, when I get there, they'll get recorded. Sorry I'm late. Esto. I see Aubrey's hand.
Michael, today I keep a promise to you that I hoped I would never have to keep. We discussed what you would want me to read at your funeral if you happened to fall before me. That day, you were agreeing to be my pallbearer because you thought I was going to pass. I see the earth in you. I see the way the earth shakes after an earthquake and how much the mulch settles after the rain. I see a little way the grass runs from east to west and west to east after. I see backwaters angry with the development of concrete and grass growing gently in between the cracks of man's supposed conquest. I see someone who refuses to pay tribute nor overpower rudely. You are quiet, sometimes, and loud, others. You are never ignored, but often underappreciated. But the earth is the core of all things, and people realize that when it wanes away and is gone. I remembered you before you left. I remember you now that you are gone. Thank you for 13 years. You were a peer, you were a friend, you were a lover. You were at times a pain, but you were never meant to be painful. And I will miss you very much, but continue to carry on the work that you've done here. Thank you.
David.
As November begins, I make offering to Morrigan Battlecrow. Chaos builds. Election looms, and we don't, by definition, know what it will bring. But if there is a way through that preserves the core, I ask that you help. Remind us who we are, who we were, and if at all possible, who we can yet be. Morgan.
Are there other offerings to be made?
Offering as well, Lord Apollo, Diviner, Healer, and Plague Bearer. Much like the Greeks on the beach, we seem to be slow to learn. Though the arrows fly among us and strike us down, we have not yet figured it out. I ask your forbearance and your good aim to help us, for too many more are lost.
Katie.
So I actually bought a little bottle of honey whiskey for Danu, but I didn't know how to put it on our altar, so I'm going to give it to her now, as soon as I get the bottle open. In that, I'm trying the best I can as every day goes, and I'm going to try to do better. And then the other little bit I'm going to also offer to Lou, and the fact that, yes, I do have that cosplay finished, and I keep thinking about it, and I will go out and take pictures so that I'm doing something creative, because these are not creative times at all. Esto.
I'm seeing Kimberly's hand up.
This is an offering of coffee beans to Hermes, the busy one. This is an offering in thanks for those lines of communication and those ways of togetherness that are available to us, for those electronic pathways that allow me to continue to see the shining faces of my friends. I am immensely grateful for that. And this is an offering in token of an oath as well. Another offering that I am in the middle of. And because I have not learned from Matt's example, I'm going to put a time limit on it. In my gratitude for the internet as a means of communication and expression, I am building an internet temple to Hermes. And it will be complete enough to receive visitors by Yule. That is my oath in appreciation to Hermes the messenger. Esto.
I see Barbara.
I make an offering to Kuan Yin of sweet scented incense. Since I don't have any fresh flowers for you, Kuan Yin, I ask you to lend us compassion. I am not asking for you to be compassionate toward us, but to the extent that you can spark compassion in the hearts of all of us for others who suffer with us. Esto.
Are there any other offerings to be made? Then we come to the time in our ritual when David is going to take an omen to see how our pledges and our work has been received in the other worlds. As he does that, we have a few announcements for the week ahead. As always, we welcome you to support Gaia Community through pledge or single donation. You can do that very easily via donor box at gaiacommunity.org. Coming next week, we have a forum called What's Next, where depending on the results that are achieved in the election this week, there will be an examination of the steps that we need to take as people of faith in light of those results at the local and or national level. Stay tuned for what that will look like. We also have a ritual teams meeting on Monday at 7, Joys and Concerns Thursday at 8, and if you have not already voted, please have a voting plan this week. Do we have any other announcements?
I'm going to post in the chat a link to our Harvesters fundraiser for anyone who has not yet been able to make a donation there who would like to. I'm going to send that over to the chat right now. Aaron says Coffee Coven is on Tuesday. We do virtual Coffee Coven here on Zoom, first Tuesday of the month from 11 to 1. So hopefully we'll see some of us there.
I have an omen for us. It's exciting. So in honor of the ritual that we did, I threw the Greek alphabet oracle, sometimes called the Lemairan oracle. And I asked basically two questions, one about our beloved dead and one about the future, about us. And I got the same result for both. And that result is the letter Nu. And the message associated with Nu is that the strife-bearing gift fulfills the oracle. So something will happen. Something will be given or it will be revealed that is unpleasant. And that is the sign that things are coming to a culmination. That is the sign that things are reaching the end of what has been prophesied. And so I cannot call that a good omen or a bad omen, but definitely an instructive one. And I think that we should all keep that in mind as the next week proceeds and then see what comes next, as Matt said.
As our time here at the center of the worlds is coming to a close, I invite you to take up the beverage that you have brought with you. Here, amidst the blessings that we have given to the powers, to our ancestors, to the nature spirits. This is the time that the blessings we have given return to us. So drink deep, children of earth, and think upon the gifts we've been given. Esto.
We thank Hermes Secopampos, guide to the dead. Hermes who travels down to fairy souls and comes back over and over again, as much as necessary, so that they do not get lost along the way. That they are conveyed safely to their destination. Hail Hermes Secopampos.
Hail Hermes Secopampos. And we make offering to Hermes Athanatos Diaktoros, guide of the living traveler. For we have walked between the worlds, and we are returning in safety and wholeness. We give thanks to you for carrying our messages to one another, for holding this space between the worlds on the internet for us. Hail Hermes Athanatos Diaktoros. Esto. And we give thanks to the Shining Ones, those gods, goddesses, and powers of Olympus and beyond who have joined us in our work. Thank you for honoring us as we honor you. Hail, Shining Ones.
Hail, Shining.
And we make offering to the ancestors. May we never stop learning from you, and may you never stop teaching us. Hail the ancestors. And we make offering to the nature spirits. Thank you for aiding us as we aid you. Let us continue to work together in harmony and mutual aid. Hail, nature spirits. And as our time between the worlds draws to a close, let this well be merely water, ever sacred in its own right, but no longer a gate opening to the many paths. Let this fire be only a flame, ever sacred in its own right, but no longer a gate opening to the many ways. Let the tree no longer be the center of the worlds, holding us at the crossroads. Hecate, as we move away from the crossroads and return to the center of our hearts and homes, stand ever vigilant as you always do, until we return again in need of your aid. Esto. And we make final offering to she who gave up her seat at the table to keep the hearth for all the gods. Hestia, our hearths are here for us, for you have aided us and kept us. Thanks as ever to you. Hail. And we're running a little close on time, so I invite you all to unmute as we close with our short form words. Call and response. This circle is open but unbroken.
This
Circle
circle
is
is
open
open
but
but
unbroken.
unbroken.
The peace of the goddess go in our hearts.
May the peace of the goddess go in our hearts.
And the dance of the god enliven our days.
And the dance
Dance of the gods enliven our days.
May we care for the earth and each other,
May
we
we
care
care
for
for
the
the
earth
earth
and
and
each
each
other.
other.
because our lives depend on it.
Because our
Because
lives
our
are
lives depend on it.
And all together,
merry meet,
Merry
Heart.
merry
Merry
Heart.
heart.
merry
and
meet again.
Merry meet
Meet
again.
again.
Well, come here.